What's up everybody, my name is Vincent. Welcome to Cryptolution, where we talk about everything under the moon in the crypto universe. Today's Tuesday, February 10th. So in today's dog video, yes, we're going to be covering in the charting and analysis how dog dominance is still surpassing some of these other tier 1 meme coins. But also we're going to be talking about how dog is still climbing the ranks on CoinMarketCap. But the main point in this video I want to talk about is Binance and also their former founder CZ. Now, as you know, almost close to 2 years to this date, the dog army and the dog token has been trying to exploit the corruption behind the Binance pay-to-play, aka pump-to-dump listing practices. But also, it's much more than that, because what we're seeing behind the scenes is CZ is gaslighting what's really going on when we're trying to reveal the truth, and the dog army is actually leading that forefront of spreading that message. So I want to talk about it and why this is actually really reflective of you, the people that own dog, that hold dog, that represent dog on a daily basis. So this is the new mission. Let's pay attention, and I can't wait to talk about it. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X. Please be careful with any of the scammers down in the comments below. I'll never reach out via WhatsApp, Telegram, direct messaging, or email. So please be careful and invest safely. Guys and girls, let's get right into it. So dog is up roughly around 1% over the past 24 hours. As you can see, there's a lot of volatility over the past 24 hours. Well, obviously due to Bitcoin's been down quite a bit, roughly almost close to 2% over the past 24 hours, almost close to 6% over the past 7 days. So it's back down to around $68,000. So now let's look into the meme coin market sector. Well, obviously, because Bitcoin's down, everything else will be down, especially the meme coins. Pengu's down 6%, almost close to 7%. We also have SPX, almost close to 2%. Dog Whiff Hat, almost close to 6%. Many coins down in the single digits. Let's look at Dog Bitcoin. It's up 1%. Remember, we flipped meme coins on BNB, such as Cheems, also this random meme coin over here, and we're right behind Melania. So I feel at some certain point, Melania is going to be the next token that Dog is going to flip. But I don't want to talk about that just yet. I want to talk about Binance. So I made an article not too long ago, and this is talking about these market makers that CZ used to have when he was with Binance. So as you know, he's no longer with Binance because he had to leave the company due to the regulatory scrutiny that he faced by the SEC. So who are these two different market makers? Well, there's Sigma and Merit Peak. Now, this article is pretty long, but it talks about the original filings from the SEC when they first, under the Biden administration, put ZC under investigation. The most important thing that you need to understand is that even though CZ has been pardoned by the president, well, which we'll talk about in a little bit, it does not mean that that's a declaration of innocence. And just because the case was dropped, it's not proof that the underlying conduct never occurred, and neither the outcome guarantees that the practices described by the regulators have ceased, meaning they haven't stopped. And I think that they're still around. Now, this image was shared by Leonidas, but this is also shared by another person, a writer, that wrote this specific article. And as you know, CZ used Sigma and Merit Peak. And what's interesting about the SEC filing is that it said in here that Sigma Chain was an active trader on both the Binance platforms, meaning Binance and also Binance US. And it described itself as the main market maker for Binance.com. And it even said that Merit Peak was an over-the-counter trading service provider on the Binance.com platform and was one of the earliest market makers of the Binance.us platform. And what's really interesting, if you look at the tone of their chief compliance officer, at one point in 2018, that person said, "We are operating as an effing unlicensed securities exchange in the USA, bro." Now that is really bad behavior considering that this is an exchange that just opened up in the US back then, right? But I'm sure right now they're paying attention, they're being very careful, they're treading lightly on these waters. And it makes you ask the question, is Sigma and Merit Peak still around? Now, when I went into both of these different websites for Sigma and Merit Peak, they weren't actually active, they were taken down. Obviously, these websites were taken down and the companies were taken down, but it doesn't mean that these trading firms are not around, that they have ceased. In fact, they probably still are around. Now, what I cannot ignore is what CZ's activity on X has been like lately. Now, I want to talk about what he has done in terms of selective reposting. What is selective reposting? Basically, instead of selecting a post and debunking something that seems very valid, he'll actually choose a post that will support his thesis or make him look good. That's called selective reposting. So basically, someone that was basically pretty much trying to debunk the FUD against CZ, like this person right here, 0xmoon6626, This person was basically saying, hey, everybody's trying to FUD Binance, saying that nobody's trading on their platform. Well, when you go over to this specific DeFi Llama website, it says that they have $1.23 billion in inflows. And so obviously CZ sees that, and this is what selective reposting is. But what's really crazy today is that when I went on to DeFi Llama, check out the amount of withdrawals over the past month. They are now up $1.2 to $1.4 billion in inflows. In fact, they're down negative $1.38 billion of outflows. So this is what's crazy. You always have to watch what they do, not what they say. And even though what CZ is saying is we're seeing inflows, what's actually happening is that there's actually more outflows. So this is another reason why I'm a little fishy around what CZ says. And then we saw that yesterday, Forbes made an article and it said Binance, whose founder was pardoned, now holds 87% of the Trump stablecoin. Now, why is that really important? You got to look at the sequence of events, right? Look at the timeline, and these are worth examining. In 2023, CZ Binance pleads guilty, right? Okay, he didn't not plead guilty. He pled guilty to violating the United States anti-money laws. So he admitted to the crime. So after that, he served 4 months in prison. Then all of a sudden, after CZ got out of prison, Binance decided the exchange themselves injected $2 billion into their stablecoin, right? So just think about that. That's the USD1. Then out of nowhere, President issues the pardon for ZC. So I want to share with you this clip. This clip is very insightful in what this guy, the senator, is saying.
Would you agree that money laundering is a national security threat to this country?
Yes, sir.
Now, with Binance founder Zhao pleaded guilty to violating anti-money laundering laws and was sent to prison, Binance then injected billions of dollars into Trump's family business, World Liberty Financial, and Zhao asked for a pardon and received that. I just wanted to ask you, is that a conflict of interest in your opinion?
I am unfamiliar with any of that. I wear many hats. The pardon hat is not one of them.
I'm just asking, do you see it as a conflict of interest, though?
Again, I'm not going to respond to that.
But even with all that, just use your common sense. It sounds fishy, right? But CZ replied based on what Forbes was posting in that article. He said, Binance users hold the largest percentage of most stablecoins, USDT, USDC, and USD1, which is the World Liberty Financial token by President Trump and his family, you name it, compared to all centralized exchanges, not news. Now, again, pay attention to what he just said. He actually is gaslighting the actual issue. Remember, the article said that Binance injected money into the token and then he was pardoned. But he's not talking about that. He's gaslighting it again. Pay attention to what they're doing, not what they're saying. Now, if you look to the right, there is today's news. Look at how many posts are talking about this. 35,000 people are talking about the Binance wallet holding that 87% of the Trump token. Now, when you click on that, you'll understand that everybody is talking about this, right? Even CoffeeZilla, who's great at exploiting scammers, inside traders, everybody. And everybody within the specific post is talking about how unusual it is that CZ got pardoned after Binance injected that money into the Trump token, aka stablecoin. Everybody's talking about it, and it's very fishy. Even Binance, the official account, is trying to debunk it. Whenever you see this much activity from Binance or CZ trying to defend themselves, they're defending themselves because they know they got caught. And what they're trying to do is save their butts from this. And let's go into CZ's actual X account. Remember, we talk about selective reposting. So notice something, right? So down below, he just retweeted an account roughly 2 hours ago talking about why are Binance and CZ constantly being targeted by FUD. Of course, he's going to repost something from a small account, especially a BNB holder and supporter, about why he's being targeted and why he should not be targeted for all this FUD and for all this exploitation. Another one. Okay, so he ended up pointing out this specific post made by this person named Wealthy Anon. Now, if you go over to Wealthy Anon, he actually makes a lot of different invalidated posts, meaning a lot of the things that he says is not true, which I do agree with. But the fact is, he decides to select this specific post as selective reposting to support that he's not a criminal or that he didn't do something wrong. Here's another one on February 6th, okay? So this person decides to retweet a specific post by this guy named Ram, aka fake screenshot. So basically he's saying, look at everybody creating these fake screenshots and basically trying to invalidate who I am as a founder. But when you go into this post, where did this post get retweeted from? It got retweeted from Swandesk, and that's regarding this specific form, which was a cease and desist letter to a specific user. Now, notice that this specific account did add something, okay? So it has these two documents in there, but he also, this Swandesk decided to enter and insert this image, which is fake, but these other two are real. Now, why is this important? Let's talk about it. Now, who was the original person that ended up posting this? Well, it was Leonidas, right? Leonidas include these two different forms that happened on February 5th. Now, when you go over to the right, this was Swandesk. Swandesk decided to insert the fake screenshot, even though these two documents are real. Then that BNB holder decided to use that fake screenshot and basically get the attention of CZ. So CZ then reposted that screenshot, but not addressed the actual cease and desist letter, which is actually quite interesting. Look at what they're doing, not what they're saying. And what I cannot ignore was this specific post. So if you did not know, BitHum, which is also an exchange over in South Korea, basically got caught. So they mistakenly had sent what they thought was 620,000 Bitcoin to specific holders, but it wasn't that amount. In fact, they only had 175 Bitcoin in their books, with roughly 42,000 Bitcoin that customers hold on their exchange. But what's interesting is that Binance decided to make a post saying, listen, we helped in this effort to recover some of these funds for BitHum. But the thing is, BitHum did not actually have this Bitcoin in their portfolio when it was actually fake. Again, pay attention to what they're doing, not what they're saying, because what they're saying does not align with what they're doing. So as a recap, I'm looking at the behavior. Notice that CZ doesn't allow for people to comment on his X account, unless you're a friend or he follows you. And even to this day, CZ does not address that he has gatekeepers behind his token listing agents that use a pay-to-play, aka the pump and dump practices that is the reason why 90% of their tokens that are altcoins and meme coins and utility tokens have gone down significantly. Then you also notice that CZ avoids all conversation regarding his presidential pardon and the association and connection to the stablecoin with World Liberty Financial. CZ even to this day does not, and also gaslights Sigma and the Merit Peak market makers that were associated with his SEC allegations back in 2024, and that if they're not around today. And he does continue to have selective reposting. He will only select FUD that actually supports his thesis. And don't forget, CZ blamed the 1010, aka the October 10th crash on Ethereum, when you have people like Tom Lee and also Kathy Woods saying that the 1010 crash was based on Binance, and that even Star from over at OKX said that the reason we saw a 1010 flash crash was because there was a stable coin mechanism happening on Binance that caused the flash crash. He's not taking any accountability. And then obviously CZ falsely claimed that the Binance inflows were greater than outflows. We just showed you the data. It's all fake news to me. Okay, with that said, let's go over into Dog Bitcoin and charting and analysis. So as you can see, Dog is right now up, and it's up compared to all the other meme coins that are in red. Now, when we look at Bitcoin dominance is still growing quite high, meaning Dog Bitcoin is actually outperforming Bitcoin. Does that make any sense? That's pretty awesome in my opinion. It doesn't just stop there. Let's look at Dog compared to SPX. Dog, ever since October 10th, has been outperforming SPX. Dog compared to Pengu just made a new all-time high, which is absolutely fantastic in terms of dominance. This is extraordinary. So, ladies and gentlemen, what did you get from this video? Although you already know that I'm very bullish on Dog, you, the dog holder out there, this is our job, and this has been our job for over close to 2 years. Our job is to exploit the corruption with exchanges and their listing practices. Our job is to make founders of exchanges held accountable for their actions. Because Dog doesn't just represent our own community. We represent every single other meme coin out there, every single utility token out there. Dog Army, built by its fundamentals, was built on the free and fair, because we all are treated equally. Our job is to show up on crypto Twitter and call out CZ, call out the exchange for literally treating their customers as exit liquidity. This is why Dog is held strong. This is why Dog doesn't react compared to the other meme coin markets. It's because Dog is the only meme coin or any cryptocurrency out there in community that's willing to call out things when they happen right away. We are the only ones that are willing to call out the exploitations that we see within our industry. We are the only people that are willing to have the courage to speak loudly on crypto Twitter. And this is why we show up every single day during the green days and even the red days. And it's even reflective of what we see in the market cap. Because when we show up, Dog price goes up, Dog awareness goes up, Dog community goes up. It's a win-win situation for us. And that's what the power of the free and fair movement on Bitcoin is meant to be. So with that said, if you support this channel, you support the content, you support this mission against Binance, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X to receive all of our alpha calls and updates regarding Dog of the Moon and everything Binance. Until then, see you guys girls next time.